Hey kids, this is Natty Beast. Not Nat Beast, not Naturity Beast. This beast is 100% natty. Today's video has nothing to do with Naturity Beast and has only a minimal amount of skateboard squats. What does have, however, is a variety of natty hats. Our first hat belongs to Performapal Sky Magician. Since you can't actually see the full artwork, here's a card. As you can see, his hat is pretty natty. It's got red feathers on it, that nice white color that matches his outfit. As you can see, Sky Magician is cool in that he is 100% husbanded material. No homo. He has two assistants, Performapal Sky Pupil and Review Dancer. Sky Pupil is useful for saving Sky Magician in a pinch, though isn't all too useful since this effect isn't a quick effect, which means you can't activate him in response to a solemn strike. Review Dancer is designed pretty much just to summon Sky Magician. If your opponent has a monster out, you can pretty easily make Sky Magician on your first turn. The use is pretty straightforward. The next set of hats belongs to the Magician Girls from the Dark Side of Dimensions movie. I really like how the Magician Girls play. Another guy, Thunderbolt TCG, who I actually only looked up before making this video, or coming up with the idea. He actually had the idea first, at least as far as I could tell, to use Magician Girls with Sky Magician in his video talking about Sky Magician. Mind you, I don't actually know this guy, so, OC do not steal. But yeah, Magician Girls are fun for you more than your opponent, and how they kind of share defense and they swarm the field at the same time. Not to mention they have two great hand traps in Kiwi Magician Girl as well as Apprentice Illusion Magician. The latter of which is non this deck since it's a jump promo and worth $100 Magician Girls, and especially Chocolate Magician Girl, are pretty helpful for getting out Sky Magician. Chocolate Magician Girl can pitch Sky Magician to draw a card, and if your opponent is dumb enough to actually hit Chocolate Magician Girl, you can special summon him back from the graveyard, or as it's written out, the GY. Beyond that, there's their, swarming capabilities with which you can utilize in order to tribute summon Sky Magician using Magician Girls. There are plenty of reasons why not to use spellbooks, namely this, fucking this. The Spellbook of Power actually has a 30-cent common, not to mention the deck only runs it at 1. Prophecy has plenty of natty hats between its members, so the only one we really need is that of Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Though he's plenty useful, he's also kind of scrawny with his 500 base attack, which is fine because the deck runs Star Hall, which means if you play your cards right and your opponent does an MST Twin Twisters before it can be used, Spellbook Magician can make some pretty serious gains. As I record this, Spellbook of Rudra, or Spellbook of Galdrabach, unless that's a TCG fan translation, like Tree Toad or Revised Dragon, that people are going to have to recover from, has yet to be printed. The card is set for Code of the Duelist, which I think comes out in August for TCG. It's a pretty useful card, and I'm not big enough, hopefully, to skew the secondary market too much, though I'm betting that the card's going to be worth at least $6 when it comes out. Magician's Restage is not a hand. It's also listed as Restag on TCG Player at the moment I'm recording this, so if that's not fixed yet, you TCG Player people might want to do that. As this artwork depicts, it's supposed to be used to summon back Review Dancer, which you can supposedly use to tribute summon that Sky Magician you got back to your hand through the effect of Sky Pupil, after which you can bounce Restage back to your hand before placing it back onto the field with the same effect, boosting Sky Magician by 300 in the process. Then, you can special summon the same Review Dancer back from the graveyard and maybe summon another Sky Magician. Or if that Sky Pupil is still on the field, you can go for a rank 3 play. The hands are pretty straightforward and work as long as you have a spellcaster out, which is not a hard task since, that's half the deck and all of those spellcasters are searchable through multiple means. While they're out, the first thing your opponent tries to do fizzles, though the cards are meant to be recycled by Sky Magician, so you can use them twice in that same turn. Though I don't think I've ever actually used lefty or righty more than once a turn, though. Because I've been using that restage combo. The deck also runs the Windwitch engine. I'm not going to explain the Windwitch engine. I think most folks already figured it out by now, and if you haven't, it's not too hard to figure it out yourself. The hats are nice, I guess. Though, what I'm really bothered by, and I shouldn't be bothered by, is Icebell's fucking eyes. Like, look at this shit. I mean, I guess it's okay in the card artwork, which is usually kind of tiny anyways, so you can't really notice it too well. Which is fine and all, except this issue persists to the anime. And, why can't they just leave her eyes covered? Glassbell doesn't have this issue. Save for half her eyebrows. But that's expected of anime characters anyways. Here's a deck list. 30 monsters and 30 spells for that perfect feng shui. I don't run any traps because, as we all know, traps are gay. The extra deck can be whatever you want, though probably want a level 7 Wind Synchro as well as Crystal Wing for the Windwitch combo. Rank 3s are great in this deck thanks to your options for going into them. That means, though kinda dated, I remember back in the day when it was OP, it's still plenty useful now. Rank 2s you can go for, though less often. Cursed Javelin is nice for monster removal, if you can't hit over something so long it's targetable. Crumbologus is also a good alternative, though, Cursed Javelin is 10 fucking cents. Cat Shark is there because it's adorable. Look at the thing. But also because with Spellbook Magician, you can actually use its second effect, which is nice, I guess. And Down-Earned Magician is there mostly for power in a pinch. Or if you accidentally XC summon something into a lower rank monster that isn't a spellcaster, you can pop Down-Earned on top of it, so you can keep using your spellbooks and your hands. The fact that she wears a nice hat is, a bonus. And now to the duels. This guy had a note saying no pendulums. I don't know what I expected, since Blue Eyes are actually plenty decent against pendulum decks. Well, this guy ran Spirit Dragon at 3 and never uses his first effect, so, who knows. Now, the reason I didn't use this Windwitch combo in that particular situation was because, this guy had a note saying no pendulums. I assumed that if I did, he'd, scoop immediately after seeing it, which was not a thing I wanted to do. And here I am hitting over his alternative dragon. And there's Rudra, again. He uses it's not Gospel of Revival, it's Return of Dragon Souls or something. Now, I don't play dragons, so I wouldn't know. And then he goes for an Xyz. And there I couldn't use a combo because my field was sworn. And my best removal option at the time, well, I actually could have used Sky Magician, but, I can make Zenmais. So, why not? So here he makes fucking Red MD. And that was actually a blunder on my part. I probably should have just let him destroy his enemies. Wouldn't have taken that damage if I had. And there I tribute summon Sky Magician. Use a hand, crash into Red MD, and then destroy Tachyon Dragon. He goes Upstart, doesn't fucking read, because, it seems to be a trend. Well, this guy, doesn't fucking read. Though he does learn his lesson about not smacking directly into the Magician Girls. So, props for that. A burn for 500, make Fortune Bird, which he tries to destroy, but thanks to its effect, can't be. And I recover 1k, or yeah, ultimately 1k. Pot of Duality, actually not the best choice because of Wind Witches. But if you can get out one of your Magician Girls, it's okay anyways. Because, you know, if you have your Magician Girls, you're not using your Wind Witches. So this guy finally destroys Fortune Bird, or Fortune Tune, and shuffles itself back into the deck. And nothing happens. Buck of a Power, or plus. I don't know why I banished his Blue Eyes. I guess I just didn't want him to do anything. I probably should have used that spellbook after saying Star Hall. Maybe I didn't want to walk into something, though. As we find out later, he's not actually got anything. He learned his lesson with Righty, which I have on the left side. And I take him for a ride. That's a 563 attack Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And he skips. And this next one is against E-Hero, so really it's just Darklaw Turbo. He doesn't appear to be running any of the new stuff. And he also doesn't appear to be running Tree Toad, though. Tree Toad? And I'm still recovering. Though he doesn't really make anything that can make Bam Shark in the usual way make totally awesome. So here's Sky Magician. I tried to use Righty twice, and he gets solved. And that was a blunder on my part. I probably should have hit his set card. But it doesn't really do anything. He makes Rafflesia and passes. You get Duality, search Barry. Barry gets striked. And here you'll notice that his life points are only at 900. Which is going to be a detail you want to focus on later on. Make another Barry. He doesn't have a strike this time. I make another Barry and pass. Alright, so he uses Call. That fetches a mass change. He uses first mass change, gets righty, turbos Darklaw, goes Raigeki, but I have a spellbook. And that keeps Barry Magician alive. And using Grand Tower's effect was a blunder on my part. And here he's normal summons Goblin Bird for some reason, and then attacks with it, I guess, to, you know, to bait it out for Darklaw. Except he hadn't realized that I had Kiwi Magician Girl in my hand, which I used with Apple Magician Girl, and he smacked himself for game. This next one is a Gradle deck. He's got True Kings in it. I'm not actually sure what else is in the deck. But apart from the aforementioned True King, it seems like it's pretty pure Gradles. Here I actually use a Wind Witch Wind Witch combo because I'm wary of his Gradles. I Luxac Crystal Wing, smack over his True King. He uses Trap card, fetches his Gradle. I smack into it. Crystal Wing's effect activates, and he can't do shit. Next turn, he tries to use Gradle Slime, gets Crystal Winged. So then I use Gradle Slime, not Slime Jr. Makes Dragon, forgets about Snowbell's effect, and passes. I use Rudra, Star Hall, Rem over his Dragon. He tries to use Dragon, it gets Crystal Winged. Next turn, Terraforming. You can't see that, but that's Savage Coliseum, which he doesn't want to use because I'm using Magician Girls. So I play Magician Girl with Spellbook of Power, ram into it, search, negate his Eagle, search, and he scoops. Next one, this one is Counter Fairies, which I rarely ever get to see. He's running some dank shit like Chaos Black Hole, which is useful because he managed to get rid of View Dancer. So I normal summon, that gets striked, he gains 100 from his fairy, 1000, my bad. Blueberry, rams into it, spell activates, I banish the thing. Chocolate Magician Girl, this thing activates, except I have nothing to banish. He uses Honest, I guess, to try to save his thing, except Sky Magician's effect destroys it anyways. And here I am ready for 2k. So that one pass. He realizes that his spell is more harmful than good and decides to get rid of it. I'm ready for another 2k. Normal summons it. Forgets Barry had an effect and scoops. Alright. So there you have it. The deck doesn't really rely too much on the extra deck, and there are plenty of options which you are of course free to adjust as you please. Because of this, the deck is likely to do fairly well come Link format when Spellbook of Galdrabok actually comes out. Though if you're not waiting for Code of the Duelist and don't mind being a meta shitter, it's probably easier and cheaper just to play Invoked Wind Witch.